No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of WrestleMania 39 Sunday, night 2. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership and support. To anybody sending super chats, very much appreciated, but please stick to the topic. And also, please make sure you send the right amount so there's no issues. YouTube does not offer refunds on Super Chat. Just throwing that out there. And for those of you that will be watching the No DQ review, it's going to be a very interesting one. That is coming up on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Might be the most entertaining No DQ review of all time. DJW sent in a $2 super chat, says, tell him virtue, 1,000. Well, let's talk about what happened at WrestleMania. Let's start at the beginning of night 2, Sunday. Brock Lesnar versus Omas. And before they came out there, The Miz and Snoop Dogg once again did their preview of the show, ran down the matches. Brock Lesnar versus Omos was pretty much the best case scenario of what to expect from these guys. It was a 4-minute and 55-second match. They had the stare down. Omos was overpowering Lesnar. Lesnar could not take him down. Omos body slammed him, put him in a bear hug, slammed Lesnar multiple times. Choke slammed Lesnar, but Lesnar kicked out. And then Omos charged at Lesnar, but missed, went into the corner. Lesnar took Omos to Suplex City, went for the F5, but his back gave out on him. However, Lesnar recovered on the second attempt. He nailed the F5, scored the 1-2-3 victory. As I expected, he beat Omos with just the one F5. DJW sent in a $2 super chat, says, underwhelming match. I mean, did you really have high expectations for this one? This was exactly what I figured it was going to be, and it was fine. Brock Lesnar picks up a win over the giant Omos. And thank you for the super chat, Mr. Tito. I will save that just so I'm not jumping to the main event just yet. Same thing with Austin. Austin sent in a $5 super chat. I will read that off, I promise. Stay tuned for that. Again, I do ask if you guys send super chats to please stick to the topic. I will read off all the super chats, though, but they might not be until later. LaShawn Davis just made a comment here, says, the Intercontinental Championship was the best one as far as what he thought was the match of the night. Thank you for that super chat, LaShawn. Much appreciated. And no worries, Austin. I have your super chat starred, and I will get to it momentarily. Let's move on to the second match, which was the women's showcase match. Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Shotzi and Natalya versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. The This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat, says Omas should have took 2 F5s or more to protect him. I wasn't expecting it because Omas, they've pushed him, but they kind of gave up on him in recent months. I wasn't expecting this to be one of those matches where Omas would be overly protected. 1 F5 is going to be very impactful. Brock Lesnar delivering it to a man of Omas's size. I thought it was fine that they did the 1 F5. We did not need to stretch this match out any longer. And to be fair, Omas is not going to be that guy that they will push very far. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't been transitioned into Great Khali, babyface comedian yet. Oofman Entertainment sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, feels like Triple H ran night 1 and Vince McMahon ran night 2. Well, Virtue nailed it with some of his comments. He said that night one, he even tweeted about it, how night one was designed to cater to the diehards, or not the diehards. Yeah, the diehards, I should say. And he felt like maybe night two would be more catered to the casual audience, the people that Vince wants to cater to. But we'll talk more about that later. Have a super chat here. I am not even going to try to read the username, but thank you very much for it. Much appreciated. I did do pretty well with predictions overall. I did miss a few, but I'm feeling pretty good overall with how things turned out as far as my predictions. Felt like I had a pretty good idea of what was going on, although a few matches I should have known better. Anyways, women's showcase match I thought was okay. Definitely not at the level of the men's showcase match. Chelsea Green did not want to tag in, and she tried to escape Raquel by jumping off the top rope to the outside onto the other competitors. You had Liv, Raquel, and Natalya working together to powerbomb Shayna Baszler, and hopefully Shayna did not get hurt. There was some concern that she may have been injured during this match, although I have not heard anything since, but if there is an update, we'll have it soon on NoDQ.com. Now, Natalya and Shotzi hit the heart attack to Sonya. Pin was broken up. Natalya applied a double sharpshooter to both Sonya and Chelsea Green. Liv Morgan broke it up. Natalya got in some offense here. She got a chance to shine. But then Ronda Rousey tagged in, and that was pretty much the end for the rest of the field. Ronda quickly tapped out Shotzi with the armbar, and that was that. Ronda Rousey and Shayna win. No surprise here whatsoever. Just a showcase match. It was a showcase for Ronda Rousey. That's basically what it was. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Tito. Much appreciated. Says, how exhausted are you? Long weekend for you. I'm pretty tired, but right now I got adrenaline in my soul and I'm getting through it. But yes, it will be nice when I can sleep 8 hours again. I will tell you that much. Radrick Davis sent in a $2 super chat, says Lita. That was the comment. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And DJW, Lita was on Saturday, by the way. DJW sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, DJ. Says, Roman is going to speak in the press conference. I may want to go into overtime. Well, I'm sure Roman will have his comments, and they're going to be in kayfabe. I think I can wait on that just a little bit. But yeah, thank you all for watching this while the press conference is going on right now. Keep in mind that they're mostly kayfabe, and it's not going to be a CM Punk shooting on the EVPs type of scenario. And yes, I agree with this super chat. Shaku Mafia says Shotzi with no Mania tank. That's unfortunate. They should have done the tank. I mean, it's WrestleMania. If you're going to have the tank, it should be at WrestleMania, right? But I guess she's not important enough to get the big entrance, so that's that. And Interstate Kyle talked about how Roman Reigns is very close to 1,000 days with the Universal title, and will also be close to surpassing CM Punk's title reign. So thank you for those stats, Interstate Kyle. We did talk about that when we did the predictions, how Roman was closing in on the 1,000 days as champion. LaShawn Davis sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, night 2 was okay. I think only liked 3 matches. I think that's what he was trying to say, that he only liked 3 of the matches. Yeah, this night was a mixed bag, but let's get back into it here. And yes, Roman Reigns is live in the press conference. So if you guys want to watch that, go ahead. You can come back to this. I will not be offended, although I can tell you that it's mostly going to be kayfabe stuff. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat, says, last McMahon owned WrestleMania. Effin' Endeavor. Well, that is the hot rumor right now that Endeavor, the parent company of the UFC, will be buying WWE imminently. And there'll be a merger with WWE and UFC as one company. That is crazy. I'm not all that surprised. I figured Endeavor was up there with NBC Universal. Anonymous user sent in a $2 super chat, thought WrestleMania was great until the end, thought the end ruined it. We'll get to that here in just a few moments. Nathan J with a $2 super chat says, where is The Rock? WrestleMania in LA. Ava on the card, shaking my head. The Rock's a busy man. That's all I got to say. The Rock has a lot of things going on, but The Rock, interestingly enough, posted a video on his social media accounts and once again teased the idea that he's going to confront Roman Reigns at some point. Will it ever happen? Why does The Rock keep basically cock teasing everybody, for lack of a better term? DJW says Roman is shooting. Well, thank you for the super chat, and I think you're working me, DJW, so we'll move on here. Derek W sent in a $2 super chat, says, fan since 2015, love the show, acknowledge virtue. Oh, I'm sure there will be a lot of acknowledging this coming Tuesday. And Seth Wallens, haven't seen you in a while. I love that username, says, does that mean we'll see Cody versus Roman via Power Slap, which is a reference to that Dana White show? Is that the crossover that we've all needed in our lives? I have no idea, but if Vince McMahon has any say, we may actually see something like that. Nothing would shock me at this point. And Psycho Jet Black just pointed out 1,000 days, Saturday, May 27th, 2023. Thank you for that, Psycho Jet Black. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat, says, Rock staying away from that WWE for sale stench. I legitimately just think he's a really busy guy. I really do. I don't think that The Rock is purposely dissing WWE and backing out of doing a match. I think he just has a lot on his plate. And I mentioned this before, like there's so many people, their livelihood depends on The Rock. People that are involved in his movie projects and TV projects. Like a lot of people are making a living because of The Rock and his projects. So that's something to keep in mind. And Styles Clash 619, I'll get to your super chat here in a few moments. I'm trying to get to the next match here. So any super chats about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, I'm going to save till the last match. Let's move on here to Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. As you would expect, this was a fantastic match. Loved it. This was a match that definitely lived up to the hype. Three guys just beating the crap out of each other. You had lots of chops, and Gunther got beat up a bit by both Sheamus and McIntyre. They did the beats. Sheamus did like 28 or 29 beats to Drew McIntyre. And the crowd kept giving them standing ovations. Like these kind of matches, the fans just eat up. All the chops, McIntyre and Gunther going back and forth. Great stuff. I really enjoyed this one. Arguably the match of WrestleMania from either night. I think it's definitely up there with Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte and the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Now, Sheamus was on the verge of winning. He hit the bro kick. McIntyre pulled Sheamus out of the ring, and Sheamus was just completely heartbroken by this. That Sheamus cost him once again, but it is a triple threat match. Anything goes. McIntyre and Sheamus fought on the outside. McIntyre hit a dive to Sheamus. Crowd was chanting, "Holy shit," for this. McIntyre back in the ring with Sheamus, went for a Claymore. Sheamus caught him with the bro kick. McIntyre kicked out. McIntyre hit the Claymore on Sheamus, but Sheamus kicked out. And then McIntyre and Sheamus traded blows. They did the hockey fight. Both guys were down, but then Gunther got back into the ring. Gunther powerbombed Sheamus onto McIntyre and then powerbombed McIntyre and scored the 1-2-3 victory. So I thought this was the right finish. Gunther, he's got to beat Honky Tonk Man's record. I mean, Gunther's on a complete roll, and I'm glad that he retained here, although people are feeling very sympathetic towards Sheamus. It's just not his time. I think it was the right call for Gunther to hold on to the title. Now, there are a few super chats here. Adrian sent in a £2, €2 super chat. I'm never sure which one it is. Says, Sheamus should have won for the feel-good moment. I respectfully disagree with that. Like, Gunther is just having such a great run right now, and I want to see the Honky Tonk Man title reign be broken, and I think Gunther's the guy to do it. So you got to keep that going for the sake of the title. And This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Says, a reporter just asked about the buyout to Roman. I have no idea if you're working me or if you're being legit. Maybe you're being legit. And DJW also said with $2, yeah, Aaron, that last question in the press conference. So I'll have to check it out. Thank you guys for the super chats. But we got to get back on track here with the WrestleMania recap. Remember, hashtag stick to the topic. Let's move on here. But before that, Psycho Jet Black on the topic still of the triple threat says, Gunther should put over an up-and-comer like Braun Breaker. I mentioned this on the predictions. I think that Sheamus winning, he's great. Love Sheamus, but somebody could be made by beating Braun Breaker. Adrian says, who cares about the Honky Tonk Man record? I do. I want to see it broken. We had, by the way, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, Titus O'Neil, who was doing guest commentary, they all gave the triple threat a standing ovation after it was over, which you don't see all that often. Moving on here, we had Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's title. Asuka had several women dressed up like her for her entrance. And then Bianca took it one step further and had like a full group of young female dancers performing to her entrance music. And you had one little girl who very flexible, did some cool stuff. And Bianca came out there. Really cool entrance. Again, the entrances were one of the highlights of WrestleMania on both nights. Everybody did a great job with this. And, they felt like larger-than-life superstars. I loved it. Both entrances here were great. Very good match here. And by the way, the girls were known as the Divas of Compton, if you want to look them up. Bianca went right after Asuka, took her seriously from the get-go, knew she was in a fight for her championship life. And this was the 1-year anniversary of Bianca winning the title. So could she keep her run going past a year? Bianca got in quite a bit of offense early and actually power-bombed Asuka on the floor. I mean, that's how determined she was to pick up the win here. And Asuka did get in a lot of offense. They traded numerous near falls. Crowd was doing the dueling chants for both of them. And Asuka ended up hitting a code breaker, which Bianca kicked out of. And Asuka was feeling a bit desperate, and she busted out the mist. But Bianca ducked. Bianca went for the KOD. However, Asuka countered it into the armbar submission. Bianca somehow managed to power out of it, hit the KOD, and scored the 1-2-3 victory. Love the finish here. And I'm not shocked. I actually did pick Bianca to win this match and retain her title. I know people are upset about this, that Asuka is winless at WrestleMania, but I just had this feeling like they were not going to end Bianca's run just yet. But watch, it'll probably be Charlotte. Charlotte jumps to Raw and beats Bianca to become 14, 15-time champion. You guys think I'm kidding, but would not shock me if that's what ultimately happens. Wayne Tech 10 sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, this match ruined the whole night for me. I was gone after this. The Empress deserved better. It is unfortunate because Asuka has really turned things around with her gimmick and changing things up. But at the same time, like, I think they just wanted to keep Bianca's run going. And because there were all these other title changes, you know, somebody would say, well, we got to have a few people retain their titles. And that's why they decided to go with Bianca retaining. And, you know, she's one of the faces of the company. And, you know, with the sale coming up, you know, I think that they probably wanted to keep the babyface champion for the time being. Walter Cruz says, somebody please explain to me how Asuka is winless at WrestleMania, but Snoop Dogg has a victory. What the F? Shaking my head. Anyways, share the video, damn it. Hashtag stick to my shtick. Thank you for that, Walter. And we're going to get to Snoop Dogg. Believe me, there is a reason for that, why Snoop Dogg has a victory at WrestleMania. All right, let's move on here. And actually, we're getting to that right now, everybody. Here we go. But before we get to that, Nathan J sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, anything WrestleMania 39 compared to The Rock versus Stone Cold? Well, Cody and Roman Reigns was a hell of a main event, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. But I'm not sure I can say that. Like, there were some great matches on this show, but I don't know if there was like a match that I would put in my top 10 greatest WrestleMania matches on this show. Radrick Davis, I will get to that here shortly. I'm going to put your comment in starred. DJW sent in a $2 super chat, says Triple H is putting over Snoop Dogg. Talk about it, Aaron. Well, I'm going to. Let's do it. Thank you for the super chat. And now we will transition. Andrew, a.k.a. sent in a $100 super chat. Wow. Thank you so much for that, Andrew. Much appreciated. Much love to you. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And he has a comment here, so I'll read it. He says, thank you for many years of amazing, amazing work. You have been part of all of our lives since 1998. Also, night one was better than night two. I will agree with you on that as far as night one. And again, much appreciation. It's No DQ's 25-year anniversary. So for you to be following for that long is really incredible. Thank you again. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's get to Snoop Dogg and The Miz in the biggest WTF moment of WrestleMania. And this is, you want to talk about top 10 top 10 biggest WTF moments in WrestleMania history, this segment is up there for sure. DJW sent in a $2 super chat, and to be fair, with all of DJ's super chats, we might hit 100 from him tonight. So thank you, DJ. He says, "Aaron, you the goat. We love you, dog." Much love to you, DJ. And I know you've been around the channel for quite some time. Thank you. Thank you to Caleb and everybody else in the chat room. I appreciate you guys. And I've been paying attention to who's been tuning in every night. And yes, I did get a text message. So we do have a little bit of a confirmation regarding an incident that happened. So let's talk about it. We got to get to it now. Okay. So The Miz was upset with Snoop Dogg. They're in the ring, and The Miz is complaining about how Snoop Dogg brought Pat McAfee out there and booked that match. The Miz was complaining. Snoop Dogg was like, "My bad." And The Miz was not happy about this as a form of an apology. Stuttering a little bit there. It is pretty late here, past midnight. Thank you all for tuning in late. So Miz is not happy about the "my bad" being used as an apology. And Snoop Dogg said, "Well, the "my bad" is because of this other person I've brought out to face you." And that person was Shane McMahon. I did not have this on my 2023 bingo card, everybody. I was not expecting Shane McMahon, of all people, as a WrestleMania surprise, considering the controversy from the 2022 Royal Rumble. Shane comes out there, and Snoop Dogg makes the match official. A referee's in there. It's Shane McMahon, the best in the world, versus The Miz. And Shane got on the mic briefly and thanked the fans for the reaction. They did pop big for him. I mean, it was a big surprise here. One of the only real surprises as part of WrestleMania, by the way, other than Pat McAfee. So Shane is doing his punches, and then Miz goes into the ropes. Shane does a leapfrog, and then he collapses to the ground, selling his knee, but it's legit, not a work. I mean, it was very obvious that this was not a work. And time stood still. The camera just focused on The Miz, no shot of Shane. People were coming in the ring. And let me get to the super chats here. So I did get a text message that, according to Triple H during the press conference, Shane McMahon tore his quad during this segment. Like father, like son, as the saying goes. I hate to laugh at it. I just think it really sucks for Shane, but yeah. To be fair, he probably shouldn't have been in there at this stage of the game. Like, Vince was out there last year. They really should not be out there doing this stuff at their ages, especially Vince, but Shane too. Seth Wallins sent in a $2 super chat, said Quad Mania. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat, says, apparently it was announced that Shane tore his quad. Indeed it was. I can confirm that much. That was from Triple H during the press conference. And Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, says, Shane told Vince, this is how you get hurt at a pay-per-view, LOL. Yeah, pretty much. I wonder what Vince's reaction was to that. If only we had a camera on Vince when that moment happened. And Torvik23 was like, at least Shane did not tear both quads like Vince McMahon. I mean, that was a crazy moment in itself. I mean, that was definitely a WTF moment. Now, time had stood still here. Max B sent in a $2.20 super chat, says 10+ year listener. Thanks, Aaron. Much love to you, Max B. I appreciate it. Eventually, after like a couple of minutes, it seemed like forever, Snoop Dogg gets into the ring, punches The Miz, Miz gets up, Snoop Dogg punches him again, and then Snoop Dogg does his version of the people's elbow and pins the Miz. We mentioned that earlier. Snoop Dogg pinned the Miz at WrestleMania and beat him in a match. I mean, what the hell happened here? But I'll give them credit. They did everything they could to salvage this. I mean, this was like the audible of all audibles for Snoop Dogg to get in there and beat the Miz. Like, it was insane. This whole thing was just one WTF. And yeah, I just feel bad for Shane that this happened to him. And credit for Snoop Dogg for getting in there and being able to salvage the segment. And I think the referee may have instructed him to do the people's elbow, but it was a spectacle. I guess that's what WrestleMania is all about. And you can't go a year without some kind of craziness. Like a couple years ago, WrestleMania in Tampa, the rain, and the year before, the pandemic. And then last year, Vince botching the stunner and just being in the ring in general. And then this year, you got Shane McMahon tearing his quad. King JMO 2K11 with a $2 super chat says, the Poodle's elbow. That's a good one. I like it. I guess we can call it the Poodle's elbow whenever we recap it from now on. And if he ever does it again. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says Snoop Dogg should have used the burning hammer instead. You know, maybe he should have done that knee drop or whatever he did on AEW that one time. He could have busted out that move again, since that worked over. Or what was it, a splash? What did he do? I remember Sasha Banks even had to call him out on social media about it. I forgot what the move was, though, that he did on that episode of Dynamite. Styles Clash 619 sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, remember when The Miz was in the main event of WrestleMania? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yep, it's hard to believe. One time The Miz beat John Cena at WrestleMania. But hey, Miz got 2 matches at WrestleMania. I think that's crazy, right? Like, how many people can say they've had 2 matches at WrestleMania? Not many. I mean, I guess Pat McAfee did, since he beat Austin Theory and then lost to Vince. DJW sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, the right decisions were made in both nights, Aaron. Well, I mean, it's going to be debatable. I mean, we were debating the main event for night 2, and several of the matches were split as far as predictions. And, you know, sometimes it just depends on what the company thinks is best for business. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, Shane already looked gas after walking the ramp. Well, again, that's why you can argue that maybe he should not have been out there in the first place. Like, that ramp is quite long. And you got to be in like tip-top shape just to get down there. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, seriously, why is The Miz treated as a jobber? Your guess is as good as mine, man. I mean, he's basically just there to do the comedy stuff. He's comic relief. I mean, that's ultimately what the Miz is. He's the chicken shit heel who talks a big game, but then when push comes to shove, he gets his ass kicked. That's just the character he plays. And William, I will get to your super chat in just a bit. I put it in the start. I'm just trying to save the Roman Reigns super chats for the end. Let's get to Edge versus Finn Balor. Hell in a Cell. Edge had a cool entrance. He had a Brood mask. He was Brood Edge, and he came out to the song South of Heaven by Slayer. Pretty cool entrance here. Finn Balor had his classic demon entrance with his old theme music and even did the Finn Balor taunt, kind of like a baby face, even though he's been part of Judgment Day. So this was a good match, but there was something that really took me out of it, and we'll get to that here. You had kendo sticks. You had the steel chairs, which were blue and purple, I guess, to represent the colors of the Judgment Day and Edge, I guess. Kind of weird that they just had these colored chairs and kendo sticks. A little goofy, but hey, they did get rid of the red cell. It was back to the classic cell, which was a nice touch. I'm glad they got rid of that red cell. It just looked goofy in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. And you had Edge using the kendo sticks to trap Balor in the cage for a while, and then Edge set up a table, but then Edge got put through the table, and Edge then pulled out a ladder, brought it in the ring, threw the ladder at Finn Balor, and Balor legitimately got busted open. And this is a brutal fight. This is Hell in a Cell where careers are changed, but they had to stop the match momentarily. Officials came out there. They had to patch up Finn Balor and clean up the wound. A Hell in a Cell match to settle this long grudge where Beth Phoenix got taken out with a concerto, and the officials had to pause the match to fix up Finn Balor because he was bleeding. I know it's done for safety reasons, but it just takes you out of the moment. The suspension of disbelief is gone. So yeah, it was a downer that they had to stop this, and Edge is setting things up and they're not showing Finn Balor. And after the Shane thing, again, it was just unfortunate that this happened at WrestleMania. DJW sent in a $5 super chat, says, Aaron, Triple H just said if it wasn't the best decision business-wise, we wouldn't have done it. There you go. I mean, Triple H always says it. He does what's best for business. And yeah, Finn Balor was gushing blood, so I guess they felt like they had to come in there and do something. Derek W. sent in a $2 super chat, says, will The Miz be in the Hall of Fame one day? Chat room, you can all answer this because you all know the answer. Yes. Why? Coco Beware is in the Hall of Fame. There you go. Enough said. It's my quote. If Coco Beware can get in the Hall of Fame, anybody can get in the Hall of Fame. So yes, 100% Mike the Miz will be in the Hall of Fame. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says the match was still better than Rollins and The Fiend. I'll give you that. It was better than that match. And, they did pick it up. They got back into it. And another table was set up. Balor laid out Edge on the table, and then instead of going for the coup de grace, he wanted to deliver an extra impactful coup de grace. So he climbed up. I guess there was a platform set up on one side of the cage. Like he climbed up the cage and then jumped off from this platform. Why there was a platform there, I don't know. But a platform set up on the cell wall. Balor jumped off with the coup de grace. However, Edge rolled off the table and Balor crashed and burned. Edge finished off Balor. He got the chair, hit Balor repeatedly with the chair, and then Edge delivered the concerto, getting his final revenge on Finn Balor to win this feud. Good match. I think Balor should have won, personally. I did pick him. I think Balor could have been elevated from this. I know it's not the happy ending to the storyline, but at the same time, how many more matches does Edge have left in him? I think Balor could have been a made man here. But It is what it is. Demon Balor loses again. And that's probably the end of Demon Balor. Demon Balor, Leatherface puts it here, on a 2-match losing streak. Thank you for that, Leatherface. I do appreciate it. Now, let's get to the main event. We had a lot of filler, by the way, which was another negative of this show. No Bobby Lashley match. So Bobby Lashley was supposed to, I guess, have a match. You know, he was teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. And he just comes out there and holds up his trophy. He's dressed up. He holds up his trophy. No Bray Wyatt, even though he was apparently in Los Angeles. No Bray Wyatt. No LA Knight. And I think no LA Knight actually trended on Twitter. Hey, Triple H, you want to do what's best for business? Where the hell is LA Knight? Like, you couldn't have done a Bobby Lashley LA Knight match on this show? Like, what's the deal here? You can show all of these promos, all of these TurboTax ads, which I guess is designed to make money, but still, like, it was, and they were replaying Seth Rollins' entrance from night one. Like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of the amount of video packages and recaps they were showing. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, who is Bray's original opponent before Lashley? Well, I think that they wanted to do Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, and Brock Lesnar turned it down, and that's why they had to do that DQ finish at Elimination Chamber. Yeah, very disappointed that they did not give Lashley a match when they had the time to do it. All right, let's get to the main event, guys. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Cody came out there, and we had a little jump from AEW, I guess you could say. You had Brody Lee Jr. at ringside, a.k.a. -1 from the Dark Order. He jumped ship to WWE. Cody gave him his weight belt, and also Brandy Rhodes, their daughter, Liberty, was there. Cody held her. So they were really milking this like maybe Cody was going to win the big one. His family was there. Seth Rollins sent in a $2 super chat, says, wasn't Steve Austin like all in for WrestleMania? No, I think Austin turned down whatever WWE was offering him. I think they wanted him to show up, but you know, he did his match last year, and Austin also, I don't know if he was intentionally doing it, but he did post some workout videos, and he later said that it was just because he wanted to get in better shape. But you know, that led to a lot of speculation. I don't know if Austin was purposely trying to tease fans. I don't think he was purposely doing it. I think he just wanted to post the workout videos, and fans started making assumptions. But yeah, there were definitely the rumors about Austin. Anyways, Roman Reigns had the big entrance, people on pianos. You had a big ensemble of piano players playing the entrance music of Roman Reigns. And this was a hell of a match. Very lengthy match between these two. You know, started off slow, feeling out process, and things escalated as the time went on. Cody was getting the best of Roman. Roman had to take a break on the outside, and Solo Sikoa kept interfering during the match. Alex sent in a $2 super chat, says, Stone Cold was in the front row. I did not see that, unless you're talking about a Stone Cold Steve Austin cosplayer. And Virtue, I did not see your super chat, so I'm not sure if I can find it here. I might have missed it. Maybe I started. Anyways, let me get back to the match here. Solo interfered, and at one point he used a belt. And the referee actually heard the sound. He didn't see it, but he heard it. So he ended up kicking out Solo Sikoa. And Roman Reigns tried to put Cody through the announce table, but Cody gave him a back body drop through the other announce table. And Cody got several near falls in. Cody cutter, Reigns kicked out. And went back and forth here. Cody hit the crossroads. Reigns kicked out of that. Cody then hit the pedigree. Reigns kicked out of that also. Roman Reigns continues to be the master of kicking out at 2 9/10. He really is great at it. Alex sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, yeah, there was a lookalike there all night long. And anonymous user says, Solo did it for The Rock. Well, he was definitely doing it for Roman Reigns. And I guess because Roman Reigns and The Rock are family, technically speaking, Solo Sikoa was doing it for The Rock. He was doing it for his people. But thank you for that. Reigns gained the upper hand for a while, hit a Superman punch. Cody kicked out of that. Cody avoided the spear, though, applied the figure 4 leg lock. Roman Reigns was able to escape. And Roman Reigns, after they traded blows, Roman applied the guillotine. Cody was fighting and fighting. Roman's reapplied it. Cody eventually powered out of it, started punching Roman repeatedly. And it looked like Cody was maybe on the verge of winning, but then he accidentally kicked the referee. So we had our ref bump in the main event. Shocked? I'm not. So the referee was down. The Usos showed up. They attacked Cody, laid him out with the 1D. But then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn showed up to even the odds. KO and Sami Zayn brawled with the Usos out of the ringside area. So it was back to one-on-one. And by the way, KO hit the stunner on Reigns. Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick. Cody made the cover. Reigns still managed to kick out. Match continued. They continued to trade shots. Cody busted out the Dusty Rhodes bionic elbow, hit the crossroads, hit it a second time, and then as he was going for the third one, Paul Heyman got on the apron, and while this was going on, Solo Sikoa took out Cody with the Samoan spike, and Roman Reigns then hit the spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is still your undisputed, unified WWE Universal Champion. Virtue was right. He predicted Roman Reigns. Josh Mansfield predicted Cody, and Josh lost the bet. Virtue was $100 richer. And now the road to 1,000 is on. Roman Reigns will now almost certainly reach 1,000 days as champion, and they will promote the shirts. And yeah, it's best for business, as Triple H says. Cody will now have to continue the chase. So now let's get to these super chats here because there's a lot of them. Let me get to these. First off, we'll start with Mr. Tito. Mr. Tito says, once I saw someone online alluding to the Triple H versus Sting match becoming WWE versus WCW, I then knew Cody was not losing. Should have known WWE versus AEW. You know, that's a good point too. WrestleMania, is the AEW guy really going to go over the WWE guy? I definitely saw people making that argument too. Thank you for that, Mr. Tito. We got more super chats here. Thank you all. I'm trying to get to everyone's, and I apologize if I miss anybody's super chat. Austin sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, longtime fan, I remember No DQ&A episode 1. Welcome, everyone, to No DQ episode 1. That was me back in the day. He says, "You've kept me interested in wrestling over the years. Thank you. I'm bummed Cody should have won." A lot of people upset about this, thinking that this was the time, but there's also people that thought that Roman should have kept it going and have Cody chase longer. It was very split. When we did predictions, it was 50-50. Half of us thought Roman was retaining. Half of us thought Cody was winning the title. And Mr. Tito said, correction on that prior super chat, knew Cody wasn't winning. Thank you for that, Mr. Tito. And anonymous user says, great until the end. The end ruined it. I've seen some of those comments, and sometimes an ending can ruin a movie. An ending can ruin a match. Depends on what your expectations were. Let's see here. Styles Clash 619 sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, who is left for Roman Reigns? Are we really going to wait for Rock versus Roman in Philly? I mean, it's possible, right? Never say never. But I think what Virtue mentioned is a very real possibility, and that's Cody Rhodes continues the chase. Finish the story. That's the storyline. That's the tagline. Radrick Davis sent in $5. Thank you for that. Says, is The Rock now going to dethrone Roman Reigns or Randy Orton? I think the most likely candidate is still Cody Rhodes. I really do. Maybe SummerSlam. Cody will get that rematch and he'll finally beat Roman Reigns. If it's not Cody, then I don't know. Like, I don't think it's going to be The Rock. I don't think it's going to be Randy Orton. Other than Cody, the only other guy I could see doing it is maybe Braun Breaker. But other than that, I don't think there's anybody else on the horizon, quite frankly. Mr. Tito sent in a $5 super chat and says, Roman just said Josh owes Virtue $100 at the press conference. That might actually be legit. Wouldn't shock me if he did say that. And William with the same question sent in $5. Who beats Roman Reigns now? My guess is Cody Rhodes. Probably at SummerSlam. What about LA Knight? Is that crazy to even suggest that? Like, turn LA Knight babyface? I know he's not 30. He's 40 or close to 40, but LA Knight's on a roll right now. It should be a younger guy, though. Like, ideally, if Braun Breaker, they're really confident enough in him and Braun can prove himself on the main roster, maybe Braun's the guy. We'll see. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Still thinks it's going to be Cody Rhodes, maybe SummerSlam. That's my prediction right now, that it will be Cody at SummerSlam. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. He's got a theory on this, not Austin Theory. Could it be Austin Theory? He says, calling it now, Cody Rhodes wins the King of the Ring. LA Knight wins Money in the Bank. Cody beats Reigns at SummerSlam. Knight holds the briefcase for a year, cashes it in on Cody, book it. I would like that. Have Cody win the title and then maybe LA Knight cashes it in around WrestleMania. I would be all for that. I say do that. They really got to start pushing LA Knight. Like, the guy is so organically over right now, and they're gonna miss out if they don't pull the trigger on him soon and give him the big push. All right, moving on here. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, I'm glad to see Roman is going to break 1,000 days. However, I also feel that WWE should have thought of that before giving Cody the shot, because now what? Sometimes things just happen, and Cody winning the Royal Rumble made sense, and headlining WrestleMania, considering that he was coming back from the injury, the torn pec. Cody had that momentum. And the question is, though, can he keep it? Mick Foley thought that this was the time to do it, but others, Virtue, a lot of people thought that it was too soon. Cody needed to have a loss so the win would be all that more epic. You know, Cody didn't really have to struggle other than the actual injury that took him out. So thank you for that, Hamp. And Styles Clash 619 sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you. Says, did we really think the AEW guy was going to go over? Well, I did pick Cody in the predictions. I was not confident, and I could definitely see the argument for Reigns. And Cody's a WWE guy. Like he is full-blown WWE now, and he does acknowledge his past, but I mean he's a WWE soldier. He's doing all the shows, doing all the autograph signings, taking the photos. Like he's being the company guy for sure. The Rock's Jockstrap, nice username, sent in a $2 super chat. Says, is The Rock on your list of any top 5 WrestleMania matches? Well, Steve Austin versus The Rock. I mean, that's arguably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. I did put out a list of my top 39 WrestleMania matches on the NoDQ.com website. You could check that out. Yeah, The Rock's definitely on quite a few, and Hogan versus The Rock is another one that's one of my favorites for sure. Joe Schmo sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, the only scenario where Roman Reigns loses the title is after the dissolution of the bloodline. It has to be. Well, see, I thought that Reigns would lose the title and then things would really fall apart with the bloodline. Maybe it's Solo Sikoa. You know, that's another name that people have mentioned, and I haven't brought him up until now. But what if it's Solo that goes off on his own and challenges Roman Reigns? People have been talking about Jay. Maybe it goes full circle. Jey Uso goes for the title. You never know. We'll just have to see. Sometimes it just might organically happen, and it's impossible to predict right at this particular moment. Brian Duff sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Brian. Says, can you see 3-day WrestleManias? I hope not. Like, I think 2's enough. But one thing I think they should do is put the Hall of Fame on a different night. That's one thing I would like to see them change as far as WrestleMania weekend goes. Axel sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Axel. Says, do you think we will get a new world title for Roman Reigns? Well, that's the rumor that the WWE was going to introduce a new title, and I still don't know if they have any plans to split the titles again. I mean, there's been no real clue on TV in regards to that, but there is that rumor going around that there could potentially be a new WWE championship design, which I would like. I know they like their big logo title, but they can keep that as something to give to the sporting teams so they can get that publicity and just on television use a different WWE championship. Like, I think that would be fine. There would be no issue with that. Big Hoss 81 sent in a $2 super chat. Says, doing my 1 to 2 check-ins per year. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Big Hoss 81. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. And I have seen some names that I haven't seen in quite a while in the chat room. I know for some people they lose interest, and I definitely appreciate those that come back to the chat every now and then and check out the videos. Thank you for your continued support. I'm glad you've enjoyed the videos enough to where you want to come back and check them out. So thank you again to everybody. Matt sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Matt. Says, Roman needs to wait to take his break. tell the rest of the bloodline dissolution story, lose the titles, and then go on his hiatus until WrestleMania 40. I don't know if they're going to wait for The Rock. Like, could they do The Rock versus Roman Reigns next year? Maybe. But yeah, Roman Reigns, I know people don't like him being the part-time champion. I still think he's going to drop the title before WrestleMania 40. I really think they just wanted to get to 1,000 days, and the argument that, well, Cody can suffer a loss and he'll have to bounce back from it, and it'll make him even more determined, and you can build that up for SummerSlam as Cody Rhodes getting one more shot at Roman Reigns and maybe finally getting the win. Derek W. sent in a $5 super chat, says, Cody can beat Roman Reigns on Raw for the WWE title and Roman keep the Universal title so he can still do 1,000 days as champion. Well, thank you for that. And one thing they could do is have Roman say, okay, you'll get one more match, but I'm only defending one title. But I don't think they're going to do that this soon. Like, I guess they could do it on Raw after Mania, but that would really surprise me. I'm definitely not expecting something like that. But when are they going to split the titles? Like, that's a big question. Like, is it ever going to happen? Are they going to ever just have one title instead of the two titles? Like, I definitely want to know if they're going to do something and when that's going to happen. I think we all do. Seth Wallins sent in a $2 super chat, and I love that username. Says, Roman Reigns is the Tom Brady of wrestling. Well, I don't know Tom Brady all that well. I'm not a football guy, but I know he wins a lot. So, yeah, I get that comparison. Thank you for that. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, if Braun isn't getting Lesnar's push, he ain't winning. Again, we would have to see how Braun transitions to the main roster. If Braun can continue to get better in the ring, and he's already really good, but if he keeps getting better, keeps developing his character, stays out of trouble, doesn't get injured, there's a lot of factors. A year from now, maybe Braun Breaker could be the guy. I don't know if they're going to wait that long, though, like I said. Adrian sent in a €5, £5 super chat. Thank you for that, Adrian. Says, Gunther versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for all the belts, like WrestleMania 6, Hogan versus Warrior. I don't think they're going to do Gunther versus Roman Reigns, but that would not be the worst idea for a big match. Like, I would definitely be intrigued by it. But of course, like, I wish they didn't do so many of the Roman Reigns matches with the outside interference. Like, if they hadn't done it at Clash at the Castle, if they hadn't done it at like pretty much every pay-per-view over the past 2 years, like I would have been more satisfied with the ending tonight at WrestleMania. They've just overdone the Roman Reigns wins because of the bloodline interference, and it's just been going on for so long now. And I think that's why people were wanting to see the title change, because they were just tired of it, tired of the same ending to every Roman Reigns match. The Real Wyatt sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, all hail King Virtue. Acknowledge the tribal chief. I think this Tuesday night, No DQ review, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we're going to have to do the Acknowledge Virtue ceremony. Virtue, it's on. You're going to be acknowledged. I will acknowledge you this coming Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the NoDQ.com YouTube channel. We got to get good old JM Jeff Meacham to maybe make a nice banner for the Virtue segment. And speaking of Jeff, I'm going to let my voice rest for just a minute. We still got a lot of super chats, and I am going to get to them. We're over an hour. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Very much appreciated. But Jeff had a little message that he wanted to say to everybody. He was at WrestleMania, by the way. Follow him at _Jeff Meacham. Just a quick 30-second message from Jeff, and then I'll be right back. So here he is.
I just wanted to come on real quick before Aaron got his recap started and say thank you to everybody in the No DQ Galaxy. It has been a wonderful weekend. Whatever happens next. But I wouldn't be able to have my own network and my own acknowledgement, recognition this weekend if it wasn't for you guys in the No DQ Galaxy, the audience, and of course Aaron. So I love you guys very much. I look forward to Tuesday. And Aaron, let's go over this show. Have fun, guys.
I meant to put that at the beginning, but I needed to get right into this. So that was just a little pre-recorded message from Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for that. And I think he'll be on Tuesday night, and he'll give us his live perspective of WrestleMania. He'll acknowledge Virtue, too, I'm sure. DJW sent in a $2 super chat, says, "You was disappointed, Aaron. LOL, talk about it." I mean, I'm not really disappointed because I felt like there was a very good chance of Roman retaining, and Virtue, his prediction made sense to me. I leaned towards Cody just because I thought like they were going to go with the feel-good ending, but they did do that on night one. I was very torn. Like, it was not like I felt very confident about picking Cody Rhodes. Foods for Rudes sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And here's an interesting take on this. He says, "Look, people need to relax. Cody can't just walk in and win because he's the golden boy. He needs more time to earn the title. Cody bros need to chill." A lot of people feel that way. They feel like, and they feel like Cody would maybe start getting booed if he's winning too much and not showing any weakness. Now he has a reason to keep fighting. He's got to prove that he can beat Roman Reigns. He's got to come back from this. He has to have some struggle. And yeah, he did get injured, but that wasn't part of the initial plan. Obviously, he legitimately got hurt, had to take off 8 months, and they played that into the story. But now he's got to come back from this and fight even harder. Hamp Connell with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Much appreciated. Says, "I'll bet you money that when Cody won the Rumble, the stupid writing team didn't even realize he was close to 1,000. They need to get on the ball." You know how WWE is. Like, they've done some long-term storytelling, no doubt, with the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but maybe it wasn't pushed that strongly, the 1,000 days. And then at some point they're like, well, wait a minute, we can actually market this and sell 1,000 day t-shirts and make a lot of money from it. And, they're always thinking about money. So when you're making predictions, I mean, Virtue's a smart guy. He's got like 150 IQ. He's a borderline genius. Like, he knows that WWE wants to make money. And if they can make money off of something, they're going to run with it. If they can make money off of 1,000 day t-shirts, they're going to do it. I should have known. I should have known about that one. Jonathan sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Cody is Rocky Balboa and they want to Rocky to him." That's a good point there too. Rocky, he had to fight. He had to work his way up. It wasn't just come in and win right away and be on top. Like, it's you have those ups and downs. It's peaks and valleys. But thank you for that super chat. And we got more here. So again, I'm going to try to get to everybody. I actually have 16 starred super chats. So this may be a long stream here to come. We might go for a bit longer here. My voice is going to be completely shot. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, "Probably won't happen, but what about Bray versus Roman?" I don't think so. I think if Roman's anything like Brock Lesnar, he wants to stay away from Bray Wyatt. Like, we've seen what happened to guys like Bill Goldberg, what happened to Seth Rollins. Like, I think some of them just don't like working with that gimmick, which is why I argued for them to change up the gimmick and make it a little bit more reality-based. And it may be too late for that now. Who knows? Dr. Dakota Scorpio with a $5.50 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, feel bad for Asuka. 0-6 at Mania. Honestly, don't know what's next for her at this point. Is there a chance she could leave? I would not be surprised. I think she'll stick around and maybe Kairi comes back. Kairi Sane. Maybe Io Sky breaks away from Damage Control and teams up with Asuka. Like, they need to build up the women's tag team division. And I think Asuka could be useful there and give that division some credibility. Build up some teams. You got a deep roster. Start using them. Jason YT with a $2 super chat says, Edge winning over Finn Balor was a terrible call. I mean, I don't think it was a terrible call, but I would have preferred Finn Balor to win. I get the happy ending, but Finn could have really been made from that. Oh, well. And another username I like, we haven't seen him in a while, Mike Hunt sent in a $2 super chat, says, Gunther versus Lesnar, let's go. I'm down for it. I hope we get it at SummerSlam in Detroit. Like, that would be awesome. I think they should definitely do that match. Anonymous user with a $2 super chat says, Roman was asked about him versus Conor. What do you think? Conor McGregor? I mean, it would be a big box office match, and especially if this Endeavor sale is going through, like that would be the ultimate crossover, right? With WWE and UFC. Sure, why not? But who would win? That's the big question. Seth Wallens with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Seth. Is WWE really going to keep the title on Roman Reigns until MJF jumps ship? No, MJF ain't beating Roman Reigns. Like, if he does go to WWE and Roman somehow manages to be champion, like, it's the same scenario. I don't think they're going to put an AEW guy over a WWE guy. Now, could MJF fight Cody for the title one day? Yeah, I could see that. Hell, I'll even say it's going to happen one day. One day, Cody Rhodes will fight MJF in a WWE ring for a championship. I'm predicting it now. So save a clip of this for future reference. Leatherface with a $2 super chat says, the WWE title should look like Snoop's title. I didn't even get a good look at Snoop's title, but I'm guessing it's all blinged out or whatever for Snoop's purposes. So he can be a big shot. And Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, guys. Says, bring back the winged eagle. Just update the plates. I would love to see like a more modernized version of the winged eagle. And you could even do like a bigger WWE logo if you want for the marketing. But yeah, I think like the titles they have, they're just so basic. And, I really liked the winged eagle. And I'm not really a belt person, but the winged eagle was pretty awesome. And the big gold belt too. Brian Duff with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Just off topic here. Hall of Fame was sucked this year. I disagree. I loved Rey Mysterio's speech, Conan's, Ric Flair. There were some good ones on this one. I did not have any issues with it. The Rock's Jockstrap sent in a $2 super chat. Love that name. Is Becky Lynch and Gunther overrated? I think so. I disagree with both. I love Gunther. Becky Lynch has been great. I think the heel run was underwhelming, but as a babyface, I think Becky's one of the best. And Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, if you're going to push Braun Breaker, keep them away from guys like Ziggler and Corbin, guys that could kill his hype with worthless feuds. Well, you definitely have to establish him on the main roster. So you don't want to just bring him in there and have him beating top guys, although that could make him if he came in and beat somebody significant right away. But at the same time, like with Goldberg slowly built up his win streak. So it just depends on how they want to build him up. And the key is to make people care about him and having him win matches, whether it's Ziggler or at the top. Like, the more matches he wins, the more people will likely get invested in him, unless they feel like he's being shoved down everybody's throats, and that's always a concern. All right, we got more super chats, everybody. Jason YT sent in a $2 super chat, says, predictions for Raw after Mania. I hope we get some surprises. We didn't get much at WrestleMania, and I think Nick Khan even said, expect a lot of surprises at WrestleMania. I felt like there weren't a lot. I want to see Braun Breaker show up, and I hope we get a few NXT guys like Cameron Grimes, maybe. Bring in some NXT people for sure. Hell, maybe they will do a big title match. I'd love to see like a big title match on Raw after Mania. Just something significant, because you're going to have that really hot, hardcore fan crowd there. Why not? Make it the biggest episode of Raw possible. I mean, I feel like so many times they don't do a lot for the Raw after Mania, and you have such a hot crowd there, like you should. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Today in History 2000, the WrestleMania 2000 show is stolen by a triangle ladder match with Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudley Boys. That was a great match. I mean, that definitely stole the show. The rest of that card, I thought, was a bit lackluster. But thank you for the super chat. Gomer Kyle sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Gomer. Much appreciated. He says, thank you for the great shows this weekend. It's appreciated. I liked night one better, but it was all around an awesome show. Love the shirt. Rubber Soul is my favorite album. Cheers. Well, that's awesome. And I'm always torn between this one and Revolver. Both of those are A plus S tier albums as far as I'm concerned. All right, we got some more super chats to come here. So thank you all for still watching. We have 300 people still watching this at 1 a.m. That's crazy. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2, says, I acknowledge that Virtue is more over than EC3. Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially after tonight. Virtue, his stock just elevated big time for calling the WrestleMania main event. And super chat here from Dugan, $2 super chat, says, did Vince change the main event finish, do you think? I don't think so. I think people are going to speculate on that. I mean, going in, a lot of people did think Roman Reigns was going to retain. And there were logical reasons for it, for everything that I mentioned earlier. So, I mean, it's always a possibility, but I don't think so. I think that they probably thought the same thing that Virtue thought, that Cody should chase longer, 1,000 days as champion, so on and so forth. Styles Clash 619 sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, predictions for KO and Sammy's first title defense. Rematch with the Usos at Backlash. That's a possibility. Street Profits won the tag match. You should do that match on Raw after Mania. Street Profits versus KO and Sami Zayn. I would presume that it would be one of those two matches. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, Roman versus Shane if Shane did not tear his quad. Oh, yeah, Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon. Didn't we see that, like, before the pandemic? Like, it was Roman versus Shane and Drew McIntyre when Shane was the best in the world. The This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat, says, you never read my old super chat, 1,000 days fell into WWE's laps. Well, I apologize if I missed that, but yeah, 1,000 days looks like it's definitely happening at this point. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns would melt the internet. If they could get CM Punk to do that match, I would love that. I don't think CM Punk would win, but I mean, that would absolutely be an all-time great WrestleMania match, or even at a SummerSlam or Survivor Series, like any pay-per-view, quite frankly. That would be amazing. You got to put it in the stadium, though, I think. Mr. Tito with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Endeavor realized they can farm busted UFC fighters to become WWE entertainers, hence the possible sale. Well, you could be right. I mean, there's definitely a crossover with the two brands, so it does make sense. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Like, I don't think we're going to see too many changes, but we'll talk about that more later once this becomes official, and it definitely looks that way. Adrian with a €5 super chat. Thank you for that, Adrian. Much appreciated. Says, what about John Cena beating Roman Reigns for the title to get to 17, third time lucky? No. John Cena, I think he will get that 17th title, but it should be, if not Cody, it should be somebody like a Braun Breaker, an up-and-comer who's going to be the next face of the company for 10, 15 years. Should not be Cena. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, the Nick Khan surprise was Shane tearing his quad. I guess so. Maybe Nick Khan knew in advance that something was going to go down, like father, like son. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, Vince McMahon versus Dana White in a slap fight. Again, is that the crossover we've all needed all this time and we just didn't know it? That would be an interesting one. Vince with his mustache versus Dana White. The Torvik 23 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Balor posted a picture of his head injury, and he said I should take a look at it. Might want to apologize to him. It's pretty bad. I mean, I'm not saying that they should have kept the fight going, but I'm just saying it took me out of the moment. But I totally understand why they did it. Like, safety comes first. And at the end of the day, that's more important than our enjoyment of a staged wrestling match. So I don't blame them for doing what they did to make sure he was good to go. I'm just saying that a Hell in a Cell match, it was unfortunate that happened. It kind of goes against the whole idea of the Hell in a Cell where it's going to change your career forever. It just takes you out of the moment. And yes, as Seth Rollins said, maybe Dana White will slap the mustache off of Vince. King JMO 2K11 sent in a $5 super chat. Says, the seeds were set last year when Cody mentioned his dad in Madison Square Garden holding the belt. I think that's where he may win it whenever that is. I don't think they have any pay-per-view set for Madison Square Garden, though. I'm thinking, like I said, probably going to be Detroit, if I had to make a prediction. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, worst leg injury, Shane McMahon or Dante Martin? Ooh, yeah, that Dante one was brutal. The Shane one was too. The Dante one, man, I mean, that looked more painful, but both of them looked painful, quite frankly. Adrian sent in a €2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, it's 6:15 a.m. here, almost time for breakfast. And by the time I'm done with this, it might be morning. That's crazy. But thank you for that. And Jason YT sent in a $2 super chat. Says, match of the night was definitely the triple threat. I probably agree with you. I think that was the match of the night. But Roman and Cody was excellent. And Eric sent in a $2 super chat. Again, everyone wants to know who is going to beat Roman. Such an excellent build. My money is on Cody right now, but it is all subject to change. You never know who might organically get over. Overall, night 2 was a B. Good show. Main event was great. Finish was what it was. Triple threat was great. Some of the other stuff was not so great. And night 1 was definitely better. Overall, WrestleMania was a great show. If you combine the 2 nights, lots of great, memorable moments, lots of cool stuff, great wrestling, badass entrances. Psycho Jet Black with $2 says, seriously, thank you, Aaron, for the entertainment. Well, thank you for everything. Thank you to everybody out there. Follow NoDQ.com for the latest updates. I'm heading to bed now. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest wrestling news and rumors. There's a lot. Monday's going to be a busy day, and I will be back after Raw to talk about the Raw After Mania, which hopefully will be another very newsworthy show. Seth Wallens sent in a $5 super chat, says, if possibilities were endless, who would you want to beat Roman? If Braun Breaker could be the guy WWE needs him to be, I'd go with Braun. I'd go with youth. But I think it's going to be Cody. In a perfect world, it should be Braun. He looks the part, and he's young. He's got his whole career ahead of him if he continues progressing as he has been. Anyways, guys, that's it. I'm out. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.